Hello, bros. Back with more books. But of course, we are Wanted, Dead or Alive, the true story of Harriet Tubman in scholastic form. The years of 65. Can a human being be Can a human being be owned by another person the way a cow or a horse is owned? People who used to have slaves thought so. Like a cow or a horse, the slave must work for the person who owns him. They said, like a cow or a horse, a slave could be sold by his owner. Pretty cool. Pretty cool book, bro. Never saw that one before. Very squeaky chair. The Secret History of the Mongols. The Life and Times of Genghis Khan. I don't know why they spell it Chinggis. Or is that how you spell Genghis Khan? Translated, edited, and with an introduction by Urgungi Onan. See what it says. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Genghis Khan. Not supposed to in this. Sure, that's their way of spelling it. Mainly got this one because it's probably worth $20-$30. But it's not always bad to have a book of history. In fact, it's great. Another copy. This is a Reader's Digest copy of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Best love books for young readers. Pages are tanned, but it's a hardcover book. Still never read this book. Probably never will, but if I could get my hands on another copy of the Russian version, which I gave away foolishly, maybe I could read it. Not that I can read Russian, but Little Women, another Reader's Digest book. Probably 1980s or something for this one. Little Women, 1985, Reader's Digest. Not old, but not new either. It's almost 40 years ago. $0.50, can't beat it. The Great Upheaval, America and the Birth of the Modern World, 1788 to 1800 by J. Winnick. It's an era that redefined history as the 1790s began. A fragile America teetered on the brink of oblivion. Russia towered as a vast imperial power, and France plunged into revolution. But in contrast to the way conventional histories tell it, none of these remarkable events occurred in isolation. Now, for the first time in the Great Upheaval, acclaimed historian J. Winnick masterfully illuminates how their fates combined in one extraordinary moment to change the course of civilization. As I said, you can't beat these 50-cent books. What would it have cost me at Barnes & Noble? Doesn't say there. I'm going to guess $38. 29. If I was in Canada, it would be $38, but I'm in US, $30. And there's all these so-called book vloggers, which are basically good-looking women who do book hauls from Barnes & Noble. They must spend a fortune. I think what did I spend today? $5 at one place, 6 at another, but that included packs of cards. Then I spent 7. So I think I got this whole thing of books for 12. Basically $16 for all these books. This one alone would have cost 30 at Barnes, Balls, and Nobles. Darwin's Sacred Cause. How a hatred of slavery shaped Darwin's views on human evolution. I hate when people do that to the jacket, but there ain't much I can do about it. This is a $30 book. And it doesn't really give a... I guess it does. In this remarkable book, Adrian Desmond and James Moore restored the missing moral core of Darwin's evolutionary universe, providing a completely new account of how he came to his shattering theories about human origins. Oh, don't fall, book. Son of a bitch. Struggle is real. There has always been a mystery surrounding Darwin. How did this quiet, respectable gentleman, a pillar of his parish, come to embrace one of the most radical ideas in the history of human thought? He got paid by the government. It's difficult to overstate just what Darwin was risking in publishing his theory of evolution. So it must have been something more powerful, very powerful. Don't know. Don't really believe in evolution. I certainly don't believe in what's creationism. This fucking jacket. Big Burn. Never understood why they put little windows on books. The Big Burn, Teddy Roosevelt and the Fire That Saved America. Another $27 book for 50 cents. And the worst, I can't even read. And the worst hard time. Timothy Egan put in the environmental. I can't do it. I can't read it. I tried. This book's really interests me. Lore, an introduction to the science of folklore and literature. What the hell does that even mean? Year is this book from? 71? Lore. Just a weird book. Science and lore. Science is a differentiable mode of acquiring and transmitting knowledge. In contrast to lore, it rests on a narrow base. Science attempts to come to grips with the world through a strict preoccupation with the denotative meaning and logical relational statements. Lore does not reject either of these modalities, but is willing to include connotation and analogy as well. We may describe lore as the primitive field from which literary patterns are derived. Way Vandaya, the peasant's debt is of course a very particular reflection of the taste. The hell is this? Book really confuses me. C.S. Lewis, obviously 3 books, Out of the Silent Planet, Paralandra, and That Hideous Strength. I assume these are 3 novels. 1997 quality paperback edition. Great. Yes. Mysteries of the Middle Ages and the Beginning of the Modern World, Thomas Cahill. After the long period of the decline known as the Dark Ages, medieval Europe experienced the rebirth of scholarship, art, literature, philosophy, and science. It began to develop a vision of Western society that remains at the heart of Western civilization today. No shit, buddy. What's that? Very illustrative. Didn't even open this one. Just picked it up, threw it right in the basket. Some pretty cool illustrations. Yeah, buddy. Throw your ass on your head. The hinges of history. (2006). U.S. Army, World War II Combat Engineers, 284th Engineer Combat Battalion during World War II. I don't believe this is local, but I can probably sell it on eBay, and probably will, because it has no particular interest to me, since I'm not a particular fan of war, and there's no local connection, so 'tis that. Try to pick up 13 books at my main thrift store, so I need one more book, so I tossed that one in. This book I've seen at the thrift store. That same thrift store numerous times. The Collector of Hearts, New Tales of the Grotesque by Joyce Carol Oates. It's a large print, but it's fine with me. Driving the car fast and faster, then braking, then releasing the brake. And again, her foot hard on the gas pedal, and the car leaps forward, and I wasn't crying. The side of my head striking the door handle, but I wasn't crying. It's right for you to die with your mother, she was saying. I'm your mother, I'm your mother, I'm your mother. Drinking from the thermos, clasped right tight between her knees, radio turned up high, so she'd sing. Talk to herself and to me, break off singing, and begin to laugh and to sob. You love me, don't you? You're my baby girl. They can't take you from me. I'm your mother. And the car began to shudder. The gas pedal pressed to the floor, and my head struck the window, and everything went flamey bright and went out. I was 9 years old. It was November 1949. To me, this ain't very good, but I got it anyway to add to my paranormal fiction. Amid the alien corn, dear Bridget. What's that say? What does that say? Oh, it pleases me to autograph this book for you. Sincerely, Sister Mary. I don't know what her name is, but I guess I can turn the page and see the author's name. Sister Mary Philip Ryan. The early years of the Sister of St. Dominic, Adrian, Michigan. Local book, obviously. Not local, but statewide local. The world's best fairy tales, a Reader's Digest anthology. Didn't really look inside, didn't really have to. It's hardcover, and it's Probably got all the normal stuff: Puss in Boots, Rapunzel, Aladdin, Three Bears, Rumpelstiltskin, etc. But on the off chance that there is a John Francis, 1983. For hours of reading pleasure and years of imagination enjoyment. From grandmother and grandpa. William S. Burroughs, The Place of Dead Roads. It's a comedy and a nightmare of Bosch-like visions, extraordinary, precise, visualizations, outrageous ideas, like mind bombs. Allen Ginsberg, pedophile. Wasn't a particular fan of either. This is the second novel in a trilogy. I don't know. Burroughs and the Beats do nothing for me. Let's read a few pages. The original title of this book was The Johnson Family. It was the turn of the century expressions that Disney shut up. September 17, 1899. What appeared to be an old Western shootout took place yesterday afternoon at the Boulder Cemetery. The protagonists have been identified as William Seward Hall, 65, real estate speculator, blah, blah, blah. Is this the actual book? For 3 days, Kim had camped on the mess top. See, I mean, this holds no value to me. But I got it because it's worth some money. And How to Think Ahead in Chess, L.A. Horowitz and Fred Reinfeld. I don't really care about chess. But many of the books from chess are worth a few bucks, so I got it. I'm interested in this receipt or whatever is in here. I pass it? I don't think so. Yeah, I did. Hell is it? Come here. Maybe it ain't a receipt. Maybe it's just the top of the book. It's definitely a receipt. $1.95. March 21st, 1973. I could only read what that says. Something college bookstore. What does that say? Yep, can't read it. Eventually I'll be able to read it. Scanned or not, I will read it somehow. Some way. Get down in there. Probably won't. I'll never see it again. Bootstrapper from broke to badass on a northern Michigan farm. Glints with Link's raw, willful energy. Possesses that rare, elusive, but much sought after feeling of authenticity. When Marty Jo Link finds herself a newly single mother after 19 years of marriage, she makes a seemingly impossible resolution to stay in her century-old farmhouse and continue raising her 3 boys on well water, chopping wood and dirt. Armed with an unflagging sense of humor and relentless optimism that would put Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm to shame, Link and her resolute accomplices struggle through one long, hard year of blizzards, foxes, bargain cooking, rampaging poultry, a zucchini growing contest, and other challenges. Sounds awful. But it's Michigan related, so I got it. Oh, she's the author of When Evil Came to Goodhart, so I guess I have 2 of her books. I don't know what Isadore's secret is, but I guess I'll find out at some point. The title itself is repugnant. The thought gradually permeated Mr. Jeremiah Cobb's slow-moving mind that the bird perched by his side was a bird of very different feather from those to which he was accustomed. Rick, bam, shut up. The True Believer, Eric Hoffer. I gotta tell you, almost every... Whoa, what's this? Someone's Visa. Silver piece dollars. I think every copy of The True Believer that I've seen has a good cover. At least every copy I picked up. That's a great cover. The hell is that thing? Oh, what the hell? See, that's great. I don't know what that means, but I like it. Possibly an alien. This cover I really like because Elizabeth Barrett Browning, I assume is this woman, looks pretty hot. I mean, she's been dead 200 years or whatever, but... Then there's little, what's her name? What's this girl's name? Amelia Miranda Ionelli, 4th grade, 9 years old, to Grandma with love. Assuming this is her grandmother. Perhaps I can find her on the internet and return her photo. The one she gave to Grammy. But then I suppose she'll want the book back. The book honestly smells like cigarettes, but I only paid $0.25 for it, so perhaps I'll give the book back to her too, if Grammy has passed. Which is why I assume Grammy would give up the book. Fake history, from Mozart's murder to Cleopatra's asp. Is there any truth to the black legend of the Spanish Inquisition? Who was responsible for the Great Fire of Chicago? Was there really a mutiny on the Bounty? Putting those and many other families, familiar characters and events from our past under the microscope, fake history reveals the fundamental inaccuracies and downright lies that form the basis of a lot of what we think we know. Right. To Kill a Mockingbird. This is a vintage copy, so obviously I had to pick it up. It's in rather good shape, although there are some spine creases and cupping and cocking. But otherwise a solid copy. This book I'd never heard of before. The Search for the Girl with the Blue Eyes by Jess Stern. The astounding true story of a young woman's reincarnation. Is reincarnation a reality? Can a person live more than once and actually remember all the details of the first life more than 100 years later? No. Coming of Age in Samoa, Margaret Mead, with a new preface by the author. Coming of Age in Samoa, Margaret Mead's psychological study of youth in a primitive society is today recognized as a scientific classic. However, when first published, as the late Dr. Mead pointed out in her preface, it was the first piece of work by a serious professional anthropologist written for the educated layman, in which all the paraphernalia of scholarship designed to convince one's professional colleagues and confuse the laity was deliberately laid aside. What the hell is this? It's like a little envelope. You can write to the Society of the Margaret Mead Fund. What year was this? The book's in great shape. 1973. Amazing shape. And then the Margaret Mead. I am not. Why read Moby Dick? Nathaniel Philbrick. Celebration of Melville's masterpiece from the author of the National Book Award-winning bestseller, In the Heart of the Sea. One of the greatest American novels finds its perfect contemporary champion in Why Read Moby Dick, Nathaniel Philbrick's enlightening and entertaining tour through the world of Melville's classic. Mitchell's Book Corner. Let's see, Paul Tuckett, Nantucket. Bought it in the Chowder House. Here's this book, 2011. And that's all, I believe. No, I actually bought this other book too. A couple of Kooks and Other Stories About Love by Cindy Rylant, but it was only because it had Dust Jacket on it, which I need to repurpose onto another book after I get the tape residue off it. As you can see, it will look nice on a different book. Not those books. This one, perhaps. The big burn. I doubt it. Anyway, that's all. Goodbye.